Thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome to the FunHouse. Going to show you some amazing stuff. Heavy metal, punk, indie, all kinds of rock and roll stuff and rock and roll related items. 2025 has been a pretty damn good year for stuff coming into the FunHouse. Although I try to get equally as much stuff leaving the FunHouse because I have no more room in the FunHouse. One of the things I got, I'll show you this close-up video of it, is heavy metal movie poster, 1981, of course, a great animated heavy metal movie. I'm going to do a video about some animated rock movies coming up, but this is the Style B poster. Picked it up on eBay for 25 bucks. So I already had this frame because I sold, inside this frame, I had a, you know, a horror movie with the rat, Ben. I sold that poster for 25 bucks and bought this one for 25 bucks. Speaking about heavy metal, the movie, 1981, I think they're coming out, heavy metal is coming out with a new comic. Like after all these years, they're kind of trying to reboot. But anyway, this also came out in 81 when the animated movie came out. And this is like an illustrated book of the, be careful, some of the drawings don't want to show you any cartoon boobies and get in trouble. But yeah, just like scenes from the movie, how they drew it, what their inspiration was. It's pretty cool. I never knew this existed. I like to collect a lot of stuff heavy metal-ish. And yeah, I never knew that. It's called The Art of the Movie heavy metal book. You can find them on eBay. I bought it for 25 bucks. Pretty happy with that. Some of you have already seen this in the background. I put it in the foreground now. Blues Brothers, 1980 cardboard display for their soundtrack album that came out. Blues Brothers movie, of course, filmed here in Chicago. It was one of my favorite movies of all time. It's number one. It's just got the music. It's got the action. It's got the comedy. It's great, great movie. Yeah, so I bought this for 20 bucks on eBay. And the reason why is because on the back of it, I'll show you, he took a picture. But the way he took a picture is a lot of this scraping. I don't know if this was like attached to another piece of paper at some time or somebody had these two like peeled off. But this is kind of light scrapings, but it looked like mold. And I think it scared people away because they thought, oh, the other side of that cardboard is full with mold. And it's not. It's just like slightly scraped off paper. Because these usually list for around $200 to $300. Because not a lot of these cardboard displays survived, you know, and I am happy as whatever can be. We get that for 20 bucks. Look at that, 20 bucks. What else? Oh, I got this little Iron Maiden figure. Iron Maiden's website had a sale in January. Everything was like 20% off, 25% off, so I got this little figure for a few bucks. And I don't know if I've showed this before, but I recently bought this off eBay. Steve Dow on the loop was a great DJ playing rock and roll, and around 1979 there was a big push. He had the big Coho group there, and they were anti-disco. They did not want that, and they, of course, went to Sox Park, if you're familiar with that story, and blew up all the albums and that. I went to a game shortly after that, and I saw the field was still just potholes everywhere. Baseball and explosives. But yeah, the loop can, I got that off eBay just for a few bucks, so I'm happy to get that. I'm going to be pausing. You're going to see a lot of edits. I've been sick, as a lot of us have, coming out of this cold winter, and yeah, so there'll be a lot of pauses for me to get a sip of water so I don't throw up. Yeah, so stuff that came out, I'll start with that. I listed this Pink Floyd poster you see on Marketplace. I've been using it off for a few years. Of all the items I've ever listed on Facebook's Marketplace, this is the most popular. It had like 2,200 clicks on it. Instantly, as soon as I hit, you know, publish so people could see it, I got a kid, he's like, oh, I really love it. How about 15 bucks? And I'm like, oh, I listed it for 20. It's worth twice that, really. Then, okay, 15. So I held it for him for a few days. A lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't hold things. You shouldn't lower your price, man. It's cutthroat. I don't know. I like to be cool. And the kid was a Pink Floyd fan. He wasn't a flipper or anything like that. You know, he said he had a Pink Floyd collection. He seemed real excited. So I held it for him. I got 15 bucks for that. But yeah, I've never had so many people send me a text about a poster, and people like, I'll come right now and pay you twice. You know, like, it's just, I don't know. I try to be cool. I have a perfect rating on eBay, perfect rating on Marketplace. Why? Because I try to be nice, man. I try to list stuff to sell and try to be cool to people. Something that I think the world is just not doing much anymore. No one wants to be cool to each other. We all want to hate each other. I digress. Come on. So Cheap Trick DVD, I bought this off of, I believe eBay or Discogs. I forget. Really cheap, got for like 8 bucks, I think. This came out in 04. This is an era of Cheap Trick that, yeah, I'd like to watch them live for sure. 04, From Tokyo to You. It's got a special one on it, and that's kind of the album that I think they're probably touring off of that for that. Let's go through the albums. I got this, Jeff Palmer. Jeff Palmer, you might know him as the bass player for the Queers, pop-punk band, long-time pop-punk band, the Queers. This is his solo album, came out in 2019. He has a few solo things. He has a few things where he's in other bands. He's got a huge career, this guy. But this is really good pop-punk stuff. So if you ever see this, Jeff Palmer pulling out all the stops, perfect, just pop-punk, catchy stuff. I love a good pop-punk. Speaking about punk, but not really poppy, the first No FX one, so they put a tape out in 85 and 86 and then 88, so this is kind of the compilation of all the early stuff. Is it crappy? Yes. If you like the melodic side of No FX, yeah, this is just a crappy album, and they will admit it too. But if you're a collector of No FX and you like to get their whole catalog like I am, then you have to buy it. Came out on Mystic Records, and this is, of course, a repressing reissue of that. But yeah, it's really, really bad punk rock on that. Speaking of good punk rock, Pegboy 4 came out in 1993. This is just a 4-song EP. Had Mr. Steve Albini, the late, great Steve Albini. Never got a chance to meet him. Always wanted to record with him, with the groups I was in, and it just never happened. Of course, it's Larry there, and John, and Steve Albini's on the back there. But Pegboy, a great, powerful punk rock band from Chicago, 4-song EP called 4. I've always wanted it. I've had it on my list forever. You can see it overseas all the time, but here in the States, you get the CD or I believe the cassette, and you just can't find the vinyl version very much. Finally found the vinyl version at a good price, and that is now part of the FunHouse. Welcome to the FunHouse. Testament, their third album from 1989. I bought, so 89, I was kind of like buying a lot of tapes and stuff. And so I got New Order, which is their second one, and this one, their third, Practice What You Preach, on cassette. Always wanted a vinyl. The vinyl, lots of money. They finally repressed it on Orange and White Swirl. Finally, 2025. This is repress. Testament, Practice What You Preach. Of course, the title track. Envy Life was a good one. Third song on side 2, The Ballad. It's their slow song, but it was really, really good. Yeah, this broke them into a more, I wouldn't say mainstream audience, but because Metallica was huge and Anthrax was big, this for sure when they came out had a lot more ears to it than they usually have. And they're still going strong, and I've seen them twice within probably the last 10 years. Great live band. No matter who's in the band, they're just powerful songs, good stuff. Speaking about bands like Metallica, they really made this band big and famous because geeks like me would get the Metallica album and read all the liner notes and the credits, and they're like, oh, they're doing songs from this band called Diamond Head. Well, this came out in 86. It's pretty much a comp of all their early stuff. A lot of it's off their first album from 80, Lightning of the Nation, something like that. So it's a lot of their early stuff, pretty much that first album, and then they just repackage it for a comp. This is called Behold the Beginning. Always love the artwork. I do have their second studio album proper, but yeah, this is just good stuff. I mean, The Prince, Helpless, Am I Evil, of course, which was, like I said, made hugely popular from Metallica. Always wanted a good copy of this. This was like $40. It's like near mint. Judas Priest, 12-inch single of Living After Midnight. This came out in 80. Yeah, Judas Priest is the band that I like to get. Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. If I see a 12-inch single of theirs, I don't like the 7-inch. I just sold like 100 of my 7-inches. Still have hundreds left, but I'm eventually probably going to get rid of like 90% of my 45s. I'm just not playing them. But if I see a 12-inch single, jumping all over that all day long. Living After Midnight. Side 2 is Delivering the Goods and Evil Fantasies. They were recorded live in Tokyo, Japan. But yeah, 1980 Judas Priest. Heck yeah, I'm getting that. Premonition. The same store had this, Premonition, from 1985, Chicago local heavy metal band. I would say more like an AOR band, like light heavy metal, very light heavy metal, arena rock kind of mixed in with that. The album cover screams like heavy metal, but it's really not as heavy as you'd think with cover. It's really poppier and like arena rock kind of stuff. When Four Become One, it's got 4 songs on it. Hard to find as all hell. But yeah, this store had it, and they had it at a good price, and I think it was $45, maybe $40, could be 25. I don't know. All these prices are jumbled in my head. It was less than 100, so that's good. Premonition, Chicago band. Now, welcome to the Funhouse. Also, Michigan Rocks. This came out in 1977. Of course, when you think of Michigan, you think of all the bands. The Stooges, Bob Seger System, listed on here. MC5, The Rationals, SRC, Third Power, Mitch Ryder, and of course Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes is on this one. So, of course, with Journey to the Center of the Mind, MC5S, Kick Out the Jams. I had to buy it. It was really, really inexpensive, just a few bucks. So, yeah, Michigan rocks. That was the vinyl. And, of course, you know me, I'm always getting CDs as well because I could put it in my iTunes. Majority of the CDs I keep. Sometimes if I just like a little bit of the songs, then I will put the CD on eBay or resell them to another store or something like that. Black Swan, great light rock, heavy metal. I would say hard rock, heavy metal, light heavy metal, hard rock. I don't know. Robin McCauley, of course, one of my favorite singers. He was in Macaulay Schenker Group. He was in Grand Prix, from those of you from the UK if you're watching. Of course, you loved Grand Prix when that came out. But Black Swan, he shares his band with Jeff Pilson. Of course, Jeff Pilson, currently a foreigner, but we all know him from Rockin' with Dockin'. And this is Shake the World. This is their second album. This is their first of two. This came out in 2020. I believe their second one came out in 2022, and I also have that one. So really catchy heavy metal stuff. Really good stuff. I love Rob McCauley's vocals, so yeah, I'm getting Black Swan. Lizzie Borden, Master of Disguise. This is one of these CDs that I was like, I don't have it. I couldn't believe I didn't have this. I had this on vinyl, and my friend put it on a tape for me, and in '89, which is the year I graduated high school, I played this like crazy, and I went to see him on a tour of this. He was playing a club. As I was saying, my favorite album from Lizzie Borden by far. A great thing. It's kind of like a concept album. I feel it is a concept album. But yeah, slow stuff and fast stuff, and it's good. It's good. It's catchy heavy metal. Lizzie Borden, Master of Disguise, easily in my top 25 albums from '89. Danzig got their fifth and sixth album from Mr. Glenn Danzig. The fifth one is more industrial than I thought, like a lot industrial, so it's kind of iffy. I mean, it's all right. Picked up for a few bucks, so yeah, can't go wrong. It's nice. Sixth one's a lot better than the fifth one. Yeah, I could show you the cover. Sometimes you gotta make sure you can show people the covers. Danzig, this is a sixth one, and this is, what did he officially call this one? Satan's Child. I think this has a few cover variants and stuff, but yeah, it's one of these albums that, yeah, CD for a few bucks, I'll pick it up all day long. Will I splurge and put it on vinyl or pay for it on vinyl? Nah, but yeah, CD, boom, listening to it. Speaking about Jeff Pilson, who is right, where's Jeff Pilson? Right there. Dockin', Under Lock and Key. This is, of course, their third one from '85. I love Tooth and Nail, which is their second one. The one previous is my favorite one from them. Kicking Myself, I've never gone and seen them. Of course, they still tour, but you know, as you can see on YouTube with the videos, he has completely lost his voice. He's doing kind of a speak singing thing. I feel bad because, you know, when you're a singer, you lose your voice. That's it. But he's still out there touring and stuff. But yeah, his voice is completely shot. But do love the band, Under Lock and Key. This one kind of blew them up to a huge audience as well. In My Dreams, The Hunter, Unchained the Night. Yeah, It's Not Love, where they were, that was the video where they're on the truck and stuff. Yeah, good stuff. I'll be rocking with Dockin'. I had that on cassette and LP for a long time. Now I have it on CD. Speaking about that kind of music, the third album from House of Lords from 1992. It had Greg Giuffria on it there. Of course, you know, when you see a band looking like that, you know what kind of music they're going to be. House of Lords, good catchy heavy metal stuff. Back to Judas Priest, their second album, Sad Wings of Destiny. This one's from '76. A lot of people don't like that first one, but this is when they're really starting to sound like Judas Priest here. Great stuff. It's got The Ripper, Victim of Changes, Epitaph. Yeah, for sure, you want to get this if you don't have it. I've always wanted to get it on vinyl, and then really repressed it and stuff, but I saved a lot by just paying a few bucks getting that on CD. Also filling in my holes of Judas Priest. I thought I had this one, and I didn't. I have it on vinyl, I believe. Finally getting it on CD. And this is their 12th album, Painkiller, from 1990. Yeah, you already got 12 albums in the can at that year. Crazy. Of course, now, you know. And their recent few albums have been really good. So Judas Priest and Rob Halford still out there, still kicking ass. Raven, a long-time heavy metal band, and I always knew. I love their videos on MTV. They kind of had such a humor about it all. They had a drummer wearing with the hockey gear and stuff like that. But it's fun stuff. Raven Live, this came out in '84, which is kind of when they were on Headbangers Ball and stuff like that. So yeah, Raven Live. Again, I wouldn't splurge for it on vinyl, but CD for a few bucks, heck yeah. Megadeth, a tribute to Megadeth. I'll be honest, I've not heard this yet, but I'm familiar with all the songs. Not familiar with all the bands. Could be a bunch of unknown heavy metal bands probably, but I'm anxious to hear this. Picked that up for like $2. Another in the $2 bin. This sucks. Tribute to Wasp, Show No Mercy. Love Wasp. Familiar with all the songs. But the bands doing them are a lot of like, you know, the like grindy core heavy metal where you're not able to understand any of the words. It's a shame. I think there's one or two good bands in here, but they are added in with a bunch of bands that just suck. To me, they just suck. So yeah, I'll be trying to resell this. Actually, I should be telling you, this is the best CD ever. If you see me selling this on eBay, I pay thousands of dollars. It's awesome. Yeah, that's brutal. A band that some of you may have heard of from England called the Beatles. This is I was at an estate sale, and estate sale was doing CDs for $1 each. So if I had a hole in my collection, yeah, I was going to use that all day long to buy it. The Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Of course, we all know this is their 8th studio album from 1967. I do have it on vinyl. Had it on vinyl for a long time. It's one of the coolest album covers of all time. I mean, it's just so colorful and that. That band was only a band for like 10 years. The Beatles, 10 years. And they became like the most popular rock band of all time. Tons of songs. I'm not really a big fan of the early stuff, but the mid and later stuff is just great. It took me a long time to appreciate them. But yeah, 10 years as a band. A lot of bands out there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years won't even come close to touching the career that they had. I mean, it's just and we may not see that again, just because how music has evolved and people have evolved and people going solo and this and that. We may never see a 10-year run of a band ever again, rock music like that. It's gone. Pretty cool to be on Earth during some interesting times, because you could be on Earth like, what, 1700s? You got no rock and roll there. You could be on Earth starting as a little kid now, growing up. You're not probably going to have good rock and roll then, but we lived at a good time for rock and roll, I'll tell you that. One of the people that was alive in this time, Jimi Hendrix. Tribute to him, Stone Free. This came out in '93. I've always heard of it. It's got The Cure, The Pretenders, Slash is on there, Living Colour. Yeah, always heard of this album, but never owned it. Buck, I'm buying it. Marvin Gaye, one of my favorite soul artists, in concert. This came out also in '93. Of course, he was shot by his father in '89. Tragic stuff, you know. Argument, trying to split his parents up from having an argument. Old man comes in the room, boom, boom, fires 2 shots. We lose a soul legend. What's going on? It's amazing CD. But yeah, this is a good concert. Sound quality is like C or B. I mean, it's not excellent quality, but hey, it's Marvin Gaye in concert. This is Only Everything. Yeah, for $1, I'm going to pick this up. It was weird. The guy had a lot of classical, jazz, folk, blues, and then every once in a while he'd have like Smash Mouth CD. I'm like, I don't want that crap even for $1. But yeah, Julian Hatfield, it's like, I don't know how his tastes were, or if he just had a kid that was living with him for a while and he still had kids. I don't know. Estate sales are always weird. He did have this Chicago Blues Bash, Big Joe Williams, Junior Wells, Jimmy Johnson. I mean, yeah, Chicago and the blues. I always kick myself. I've only gone to Chicago Blues Club probably 3 times in my whole life in Chicago. And it's like 10, 20 minutes away. I could be sitting at a blues club. I don't know. I need to put it on my calendar. Go to a blues club tonight, you idiot. Because I always have a good time. When I lived in Florida, I went to this one blues club in Ybor City. I forget the name, but I always had a good time when I was there. Love the blues, but yeah. The blues is a lot cooler to see live, too. I bought these just because they were $1 each. I wanted to check them out. I always heard of John Prime. And not really a fan. It just didn't strike me. So these 2 are actually sitting on eBay right now. 2 John Prime CDs. Have them for a good price. Because, yeah, I just, you know, John Prime from Illinois. And a lot of people love him, but I just couldn't get into him. Comparison to Bob Dylan, which, oddly enough, I just saw that movie 2 nights ago. Complete Unknown. Great movie, man. I'm just a very casual fan of his. I have his hit CD, and that's it, you know. But yeah, really interesting story. Never knew the strong connection with him and Joan Baez, or him being friends with Johnny Cash. But yeah, great movie. If you haven't seen it, even if like me, just like, whatever, Bob Dylan, go see it. Great movie. And he had these 2. Sunnyland Slim, one of the people that come up from Mississippi in the 40s. They settle here in Chicago and create the world's top blues scene of all. He's one of them, Sunnyland Slim. This came out in '89, I believe. Be careful how you vote. Still important today too. Be Careful How You Vote by Sunnyland Slim. You know, this is great, like piano and bluesy, good stuff. I put it on my iTunes, but I want to put it out there for somebody else to own. I paired it up with this, again, put it in my iTunes, and it's on eBay. These two are also sitting on eBay. Speaking of eBay, we'll end it with these two. I bought the Exploited CD. It's upstairs, and that's because that's been sold. I need to ship it out. That's sitting on eBay. And today in the mail should come a CD of, I believe it's like the hits from the Dead Boys. And I'm in a band, Space Age Zeros, and in a few weeks we're opening up for the punk rock classic people, the Dead Boys. All right, mailman did come. Look at this. I told you it was coming. This is good packaging. I'll have to save this packaging. Yeah, this is that CD I was telling you about. Where's it? The Dead Boys, yeah, so glad to have this. This is my iTunes and mosh pit with my dog there. Right, mosh it up, mosh it up. And I know there's only one original person left, but it's still kind of cool to say, hey, we're playing a show with the Dead Boys. Let me know if you have any of this stuff and what you think about it and what new stuff you've gotten in your little house. Thanks for watching.